Derby County are assessing their options ahead of a potential move for Louie Barry in a very interesting move which could see the player move from Aston Villa to Pride Park Stadium. Now, it has been revealed that a deal worth around £3.5 million to Hull City was close to being agreed before their embargo was put upon them last week. However, it is also being reported that that embargo could be lifted on Hull City. Now, should Derby County be jumping in on this deal? Should they be trying to snatch it from the hands of Hull City? I certainly believe it's one that should be given a question. Now, obviously, the cost is quite expensive at £3.5 million, as well as a reported 50% sell-on fee. But does Louie Barry have the potential to double, triple, maybe even 10 times that £3.5 million fee? There's always the potential there. Now, obviously, the 50% sell-on is the bit where a lot of people are going to be a bit worried, and I also do understand that. Now, obviously, this deal could fall through with Louie Barry to Hull City, but shall we take a deeper look? Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets. Now, obviously, Louie Barry is a phenomenal player. He showed his worth at Stockport County. He went on loan to Hull City last year, but picked up an injury which saw him out until the end of the Championship season. However, it is being revealed over the course of the last few weeks that he could potentially be heading back to Hull City on a more permanent transfer. Now, for me, I think that the costings involved in this deal are very, very cheap in regards to early 20s player who has high potential, and we've seen the ability that he does have at Stockport County. Obviously, we haven't yet seen that translate into the Championship or any higher, but ultimately, until they're given an opportunity, you never really know. Now, obviously, if we go back to January, Derby County wanted to get this deal done on a loan transfer, but it was believed that the loan fee was around £1 million with around £25,000 a week across the course of a 5-month period where he would have been at Derby County, making the deal worth nearly £2 million. Now, obviously, it is very interesting to sort of read into sort of the potential deal that Hull City are looking at. Now, it is believed that Derby County are sort of sitting on the back burner, seeing what goes on with Hull City's embargo and what deal they could maybe get done in regards to that of Louie Barry. But I think what's also very important is Derby County do have their sort of eyes on other targets. There's obviously discussions around Carlon Grant, which we spoke about a few weeks ago. It's obviously one which we addressed in January as well. There's sort of a lot of discussion points going on behind the scenes. And I think, as you and I, as Derby County fans, will know, is that Derby County are needing players in those wide areas. A player like Louie Barry would certainly add to the quality in those areas, even if he didn't end up turning up to be a £20 million player in 2 or 3 years. He'd still be an improvement on what we have in the building, and also a more long-term player as well. And I think what Derby County fans have to understand in regards of this deal is £3.5 million is certainly a lot of money. The 50% sell-on is also, it could be a lot of money. We don't really know. Like, the thing for me in regards to sell-on fees is you don't know how costly they're going to be until the player performs. Like, if you look at a player, for example, like Kane Wilson, for example, if Bristol City have a 50% sell-on fee, we got him on a reported free transfer. There is reports that there is potential payments that have been made, but obviously at the time of bringing him in, it was reported as it was a free transfer. I think what is very important in regards to that deal is if Kane Wilson was to go for £5 million, obviously 20% of that would go then to Bristol City. Obviously, I'm not saying there is a clause for Kane Wilson before people jump on me. I don't know if there is. There may be, there may not be. But it's one of those for me where it's just like with, if Kane Wilson goes on to have a bad season, that sell-on fee becomes less effective. Like, if we bought Louie Barry in for $3.5 million, he's brilliant this year, we don't sell him, bad the year after, and then we sell him, like, the fee you pay for that is obviously a lot lower. So, and obviously teams can buy out the sell-on clauses. They are allowed to do that. I believe that Derby County have received money for those in the past when Derby County was struggling with their financials. And it's one of those for me where, obviously, with Louie Barry, it's very much, it's a bit like the Patrick Agyemang transfer for me, where it's very much a query of whether he's going to be able to compete at this level, whether he's going to be able to do the things that he was doing in League One in the Championship, because we don't know. Like, I think he played, about 100 minutes for Hull City back last season. It was only 4 games that he played. And I think they only worked out at about 100 odd minutes, which obviously is disappointing. We know that because obviously if Derby County had bought him and he only played that much, it worked out at 165 minutes he played for Hull City, which, don't get me wrong, isn't enough to show your worth. It isn't enough to show that you're capable of playing in this division. And I think that's sort of where this discussion around the £3.5 million transfer really comes in, because we're paying, nearly £6 million for Patrick Agyemang, who's 2 years older. There's a sell-on fee involved in that for a player who has also never played in the Championship. We bought in Sondre Langas for £4.5 million. There's probably a sell-on fee involved in that for a player who has never played in the Championship. Now, the thing for me is, I believe if Derby County believe it's the right move, I will 100% trust in John Eustace. John Eustace showed me last year exactly what he can make happen with what many people would turn around and say wasn't a good enough squad for the Championship, yet he was pushing playoff form for the final 10 games. Which, I'm not going to say that he would have been able to keep that up for 46 games, but I certainly don't think Derby County would have been in relegation trouble if we had that squad from day one and John Eustace was the manager. However, we can talk about that later down the line. Now, can we sign Louie Barry? Do we have the money there? Ultimately, that's a question, because if we bring in Agyemang, which the medical is set to take place, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, with the Gold Cup set to finish, I think it's today as I'm recording this video. So it's one of those where we're bringing, get the Agyemang medical done, get Agyemang in, and you look at that and you go, what do Derby County have left? When it comes to the cash-in budget, that then works out at 0. Because you've got Langas bought in, you've got Agyemang, you've got Morris. You're looking at 0 there. We don't talk about Vyman, we don't talk about Danny Bart, we don't talk about Richard O'Donnell in that respect, because they didn't receive transfer fees, although they may have benefited from higher signing on fees, which may have come out of that budget. But once we bring in Agyemang, that money is essentially gone. But is there money in the pot to bring in a Louie Barry? Obviously, I don't know. We don't know. And the budget is supposed to be better than last year. Now, ultimately, bringing in Carlton Morris, Andreas Vyman, Danny Bart, obviously, when Agyemang comes in, we've already spent pretty much the same as what we spent last year across the course of the whole season. And the only reason we spent so much last year was because cash-in was sold and we spent £4.5 million on Sondre Langas. If you take away Langas coming in and keep cash-in, for example, we will have spent more this year when Agyemang comes in. So it is going to be interesting to see what other money we have left and what other money we do spend, because obviously it's very early in pre-season to have no budget left. And I do believe there's money there. I do believe there's money in the pot. There's a lot of people that think that investment is sort of already done, although I personally am not entirely sure on that. Haven't heard anything to that regard. We'll obviously have to wait and see. But if we're spending $6 million on a player, I believe that there's obviously money there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I believe Louie Barry could be an excellent signing. If you add Louie Barry in with Andreas Vyman, Patrick Agyemang, Carlton Morris, Corey Blackett-Taylor, you look at all these players that could be involved in that forward line, and I think we look really, really good. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. It is a very, very interesting one to keep an eye on. But you can obviously let me know your thoughts down below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Will Derby County sign Louie Barry? Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets.